Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is indeed another fabulous, exciting good morning here on February of 2024. Live in studio at Intex News Radio, reality radio, where anybody can be a star. That's kind of why I'm sitting here, because anybody can be a star at Intex News. All it takes is the willingness to get involved, stick your neck out and voice your opinion. I said, good morning. My name is Clint Paris, and I am your co-host, and you're live on Straight Up the Middle. Every now and again, I have to remind people of, what Straight Up the Middle is about. Straight Up the Middle is a national political discussion format so that we can talk about national political issues. And if you're in any situation, wherever in the United States, please know for certain that all the things impacting your life come down to politics. So we'd like to keep it current, see what's going on, and most of all, get your opinion. So if you're listening in and want to call in number is 813-444-9588, 813-444-9588. Make that a contact in your phone so that when the moment hits you, boom, you can just hit the button. So with that being said, I want to welcome you in this morning. There's a lot of stuff going on. Last week, I want to appreciate everybody tolerating my therapeutic session. This week, we're going to have the professor call in to talk about kind of some things about, he's got Biden on his mind this morning. He got a lot of Biden stuff in his head. And so he's going to call in and take a break from educating the youths of America. He has class on Saturday morning, so he's going to step out of class for a little bit and talk with us about some stuff, Biden, that's affected him. But I want to remind everybody, it is still Black History Month. All month long, it is Black History Month. I broke out my Tommy Smith and Juan Carlos shirt for the 1968 Olympics. Great historic moment. This moment, if we can get this on the screen, Bezel. The moment, this picture was so iconic. I captured, I want to say, by Sports Illustrated, and for decades it was not allowed to be reproduced. It was such an impactful photograph. But I just like to point out and just share with everyone. This is a great month to go out and learn some Black history. And how about this? let me put a twist on it. How about you go learn some of your own family history? Make a point of reaching out to someone in your family that's a little been around a little long, a little elderly. And then here's what you want to do. Share that information with somebody younger. I challenge you. Go out, and even if you want to call in and share some family history, you will be shocked at the great stuff that some families have gone through. Their association with history, be it small and minor in a little community, and sometimes very vast. But I encourage everyone to get out and just celebrate the rich contribution African Americans have made to American society while we celebrate Black History Month. So if you're watching this week on the political, there are a number of things that went down that of particular interest. You had the Supreme Court hearing involving Donald Trump's ballot situation out in Colorado, which played itself out. You had the chaos in Congress with the various bills regarding the border, Ukraine and Israel, kind of falling apart, and Republicans turning on Republicans. And then you had Joe Biden, a ruling coming out from special counsel saying that Joe Biden would not be prosecuted because he's an elderly man with a forgetful memory, and he would be sympathetic to a jury, which I've never heard that be a reason why someone's not prosecuted, but they put that in the report. And so what was interesting is Merrick Garland could have edited the report. He could have requested some things be changed in the report, but he didn't. He let the report go as is, and I thought that was quite noble of him to say, look, my hands have been off this thing. I'm not gonna put my fingers on the scale. But long and the short of it is, it came up very damaging. And Joe Biden, in his effort to turn the tide, he had a press conference, and it wasn't the sharpest, most convincing press conference, but he had a press conference. And he may not have looked 81, but he looked about 77. He was up there in the octogenarian range there. Anyway, I think that we've got the professor on the line. Good morning, Professor. How are you?
Good morning. Can you hear me smiling from ear to ear? I mean, I hate to take such pleasure in this. I feel bad that I'm smiling and just giggly about this old man, but I'm sorry. That is just so improper of me. Good morning.
Good morning to you too, Professor. Listen, I have already prepped our listeners and callers that listen. The professor would be calling in to do a couple laps on this Biden thing, just stretch your legs a little bit. I will concede it was not Joe Biden's best week.
Finest hour.
Right. I would not say that. From a standpoint, what are your takeaways though from and let me just deal with it. There are a couple of things. The first one is the decision by special counsel to issue this report with this language in it. That was my first thing. I'm thinking, okay, let me think about this. It was extremely analytical and seemed very subjective. I mean, it's one thing if he'd had the president, analyzed by an expert to determine, because he was talking about basically this guy's not competent to stand trial is what I took away from that. And I thought, well, what's that based? Is that your take on it?
Well, yeah, that's my take on it. And sure, the report was analytical, if you want to use that term, but I don't know what's the pushback because, again, let's take out Joe Biden's name and put Donald J. Trump on the Mueller report, on every report that came out on Trump, when they were comments about his personal state of mind, when they were trying to do the Section 4, Article 25 on Trump, no one seemed to have an issue with how they characterized Trump, his being petulant, all those things. No one had an issue with that. Even when they said his IQ was low, no one had an issue with that. But everyone sees Joe Biden. And we've teased about it. When you see an old man continue to trip and fall, when you see an elderly person have that blank stare on numerous occasions, and they're publicizing it, it's publicly, no one can now be surprised that it's come out in a formal report. I don't think they can hide it anymore.
Yeah, but my first thought is, and I'm just thinking from the legal analysis, you've got to have professionals qualified to make conclusions. And I don't know if I'm comfortable with prosecutors saying we're not going to prosecute somebody because we don't think their memory's strong enough. Just think about it. I've committed a robbery, a bank robbery or something. They arrest me. I go, I really don't remember much about what happened. And they go, okay. Well, we can't prosecute you because you don't remember.
Now, let me jump back in. You're right. That wasn't out for Biden. And I think the Democrats are just, the Democrats have to say what they're saying. Well, I'm just so surprised because had they taken Joe Biden, had they taken this charge further, it would further be exposed without them giving him the out saying, and the guy has bad memory. The American public knows that. The Democrat Party knows that. But you just hate Trump so bad, you won't believe your own eyes. You hate Trump so much, you don't even care that the leader of the free world is not there mentally. We got two conflicts going on, more than that. They're two highly publicized conflicts. One, a full war, and another one, the conflict.
Right.
And we have a president who is guessing, who can't remember. I mean, this is really beyond dangerous.
Now let's let's slide over to. Okay, so we have the report, which I was just very interested in the language used in the report. And what you're implying, look, this was the lesser of the two evils. If the guy really wanted to do it, he'd put him on trial and remove all doubt that he's any competency because everybody would see it.
Exactly.
Got it. And then the second one is the decision to bring this 81-year-old man out late in the day to do a press conference. I mean, that just didn't seem, and not like not that I've got anything against old people being out at night. I mean, they can be out if they want to be out late. But most of the time they're bringing it in around 6:30, 5:30. I've got a neighbor that I like to catch up with, but his garage is shut by 6, man. If you're not over there before 5:30, you're not. He's locking it up, man. It's not. You're not getting in there, and so.
But that was a good strategy. That was a good strategy for them, the White House, to bring him back out because they prepped him. Joe, remember these days, and he came out sounding really lucid. I mean, he was on it until they started throwing questions at him. Did you see that once again glazed over? I don't know what to do. I'm lost. I'm scared. Look, when he was pointing, he didn't even know which reporter to call on. They were just a barrage of questions, and he had that look again of terror. And then he got grumpy. It's
well, I mean,
that's just the whole thing.
So there are
okay.
There are a number of components.
Let me ask you this, Clint.
Okay.
But let me ask you this. Are you telling me you do not see any mental decline of Joe Biden?
No. There's definitely, he's aging. They're right in front of us. But, I belong to an old black church. We have a lot of old members there that, you kind of get to see them through their transitional upper ages, and, some of them maintain a little better than others. Let me ask you.
Okay, go ahead.
I was going to say, but what other option did he have but to get out front and not let the nightly news run with that, but try to refute it? What other option did he have, really?
Well, he didn't really have one. So that was his only shot. But I mean, give the guy a C for effort, because I don't think he pulled it off. He really kind of proved the point.
Right.
Angry, which is what a lot of people with dementia have, this burst of anger, and then they say behind the scenes he was swearing.
Well, now you're saying that he has dementia. It's one thing to say someone's old and they're the fastball didn't have as much juice on it. It's something else to say that he has dementia.
Okay, and so I'm glad you brought me back to that point. See, that's what the report didn't say. It's not a clinical diagnosis to say someone has a loss of memory. I mean, we say that all the time. You just said about
it said the man couldn't remember when his son died, or that his son had died, or
that's not that's not a clinical diagnosis. That's stating the fact. If I asked you when your son died and you couldn't remember, and I write it down, I didn't diagnose you clinically.
You did not. But if you list out all the things I couldn't remember, I couldn't remember my date of birth. You can't remember my name. When you get to the bottom, hey, all these things mean something. That's really the implication,
right?
And I think this is interesting. You're almost saying, look, this Republican appointed special counsel really did him a favor, because you still have, and maybe I'm not up to speed. I should have checked. Maybe our research department can look into this and do some background on the status of the Mike Pence documents case. I think the Donald Trump documents case, because he could have just as easily, I thought, came out and said, listen, we didn't find any intent to withhold sensitive information, and he cooperated, so we're not prosecuting. That would have been enough for most people, I think, because it would distinguish what happened. Yeah, they would have distinguished him from what is going on with Donald Trump. Donald Trump.
Well, I think.
Go ahead.
I think there are two things at play here. I think, first of all, it seems right, because the media said it. It's just like it was online. It's on the internet, so it's true. It seems right to say that Donald Trump's situation is worse than Joe Biden. Joe Biden was never president. From my understanding, it's from my reports, I have a right-leaning group. Joe Biden, first of all, he is dated further back than Trump, and he had more documents. And look where his documents were. And then Joe came out and told 4 lies that CNN fact-checked him on that were circled in the images on the report. Oh, they were all locked up in cabinets. Lie 1, I didn't have any highly classified information. Lie 2, it compounded itself. But the mainstream media, and certainly the Democrats, are going to say, well, Trump's worse because he didn't want to give him back. But at least if you start at the beginning, who really had the authority to have those documents? It'd be a president and not a vice president, certainly not a senator.
Well, let's hold that thought real quick. I want to take a break, and I want to come back, Professor, if I could, and ask you, what is the political implication of this on the upcoming election. Let's talk about that a little bit on the other side if we could. You're listening to In Touch News Radio, reality radio, where everybody's a star. We'll be right back after this quick break.
So believe we hunted down 813-248-6300. Everything gon' be okay. Call Ricky, he coming. He taking care of state of Florida. Grab a pen of sundown 184-361-RIG. That's 184-361-425. Never word from the point forward, just recline. Just ask Ricky, push your boy statewide. Just in case you missed it, I'ma tell you one more time. 184-361-RIG. Call Ricky, ask Ricky. It's a legal medical referral service. The doctors and lawyers in our network are trained in handling auto injury claims and getting you the best medical treatment and recovery. Dial 1-844-361-RIG. That's 1-844-361-7425. Ricky. Ask Ricky.
We're playing your favorite old school.
Nobody loves me better. Makes me happy. Makes me feel
Today's R&B
magic in the air.
with a smooth touch of jazz. You're listening to In Touch Radio.
By now, we're all aware of the dangers of COVID-19. Like others with existing health issues, cancer patients are at a high risk due to their compromised condition. If you are newly diagnosed with cancer, your care likely can't wait. Moffitt Cancer Center is the best place for your cancer concerns and to provide guidance to help you plan your next steps. We're here for you. Call 1-888-456-2839 or go to moffitt.org/here for you.
Are you missing church? Yes! Well, you don't have to. Listen in every Sunday to Reverend Dr. Maurice Johnson. Voice your victory from the Memphis Christian Center at 11 a.m. Central Time and 12 noon Eastern Time on In Touch Radio.
We're back live at In Touch News Radio, reality radio, star. This is Straight Up the Middle. I got the professor on the phone. Professor, listen, when we took the break, I was tilting our conversation towards, okay, so this has happened with Joe Biden. What does it mean to the current political race? Does it impact the primaries? What does it mean to the politically to the presidential race between Trump and Biden?
Well, it means that Trump is going to have more of an advantage. So, and I think, and then the other implications from the Democrat side of the House is what I've been hearing, as far as you guys talking about, it means that Kamala Harris is going to now be either propped up or further distanced. Now, I don't know about, I'm just spreading, this is definitely conjecture. The whole Michelle Obama, that's why she made some appearance, and, when they get to the DNC can definitely appoint someone, but it's almost obvious. It seems to be obvious that Joe Biden will not be the Democrat nominee. Because how do you come back from this? And just like some people are saying, well, Joe Biden needs to get out front and talk more, they really don't want that. There's been no proof since he's been in office that he's gotten better with his mental acuity. It's just been no proof. It's been getting worse. And it started with the falling down, and then it started with the miscues. And now, as of late, he's talking to dead people. Hey, can you ask him if he can talk to my grandma Mag? I mean, I ain't seen my grandma since '92. Since he's talking with dead country leaders from '96, I'd love for him to talk with my grandma Mag. I mean, it's just, how can he come back from this? Because it's going to be, the headlines are going to be, he's just trying to do this to show or to act as though he's not diminished. That's why he does that little shuffle step. Every time he does that shuffle step, running up to the mic, He's not doing himself any favors. He's trying to show someone he can run. Like, dude, you can't even walk. Stop that.
Well, what about, so I have mixed feelings about looking at how it impacts the election. If this was a normal election during normal times, with Americans acting like normal voters, I'd be worried. I would. That's not what we're dealing with now. We're
But
dealing with
can I say,
yes.
it hadn't been normal since COVID.
Oh no, I think it would be. It wasn't no. It went. To the. I think with the election of Donald Trump against Hillary was when I thought it crystallized, and he saw it better than anyone else. But let me say this: I don't think there's anything you can say to a Trump supporter to get them to not support Trump and support Biden. Not one thing.
Likewise,
you can't say so for those people, the 83 million that voted for Joe Biden, I don't know that this is going to affect them.
Okay.
And so my question, and that's what I'm right. Exactly. I mean, I'm not saying whether it's good or bad. I'm just dealing with the reality of how American voters are acting now.
Well, see, I don't understand how you can make that assertion, because the polling shows clearly it showed before this report came out that over 40% or around 40% of the polling audience, I don't know if it really depended on the demographic, the age, had a concern about Joe Biden's mental ability.
Yeah,
and so you're trying to tell me
you're right. But so let me take you to the next component of the polling dynamic. See, polling is not real. It's kind of hypothetical. When it gets down, so when you get down to, I actually got to vote. There are a lot of people that will talk a certain dynamic or project certain things, but when it really gets down to it, and they walk in the back of the booth, and they've got to vote, and they know that after I vote, I've got to live with the consequences that come from this vote. People tend to do a little sometimes, and that's why polls are wrong now. I think the polling science is wrong, because the polling science is based on historical patterns of voters, not the current voters.
I would challenge you there, because we're still in the same age as AI. So I think you have to kind of split that out. Maybe certain methodologies may be wrong and dated, but now with the whole influx of AI, no, they can actually simulate the thoughts, and they can do that on patterns of what pages people access after they click on a Trump banner, what pages people access after they click on the Joe Biden or anything. So I'm a bit on the fence about that. It sounds good to say, oh, it's just flawed. I don't know.
Well, I mean, what the biggest person that convinced me of that was Donald Trump. You can't believe polls. You can't trust polls. They have an agenda. I mean, okay, let's get rid of polls. I mean, and the polling sizes are so small. They use 1,000 people, and how they're skewed, how they ask the questions. I mean, but I would not use polls as a predictor of an outcome of an election anymore. I just think they're just too.
I guess a Democrat would say that.
Well, I mean, you go back, if that were the case, Hillary should have beat Donald Trump. Trump should have beat Biden.
But that's what I'm saying. That's why Democrats are big gun shy with polls now, because you used to have it a dead ringer, because you had your choice politician, and you can manipulate polls.
So with that being said, if the theory behind this situation now is the polls are telling us something about how the actual vote will come out, it's not as tightly correlated as it used to be. They used to be tightly correlated. I just think now there are a lot of people that in the mall, I guess that's where they do the polls at. I don't know where they do them at, in the malls, because I've never been asked. So I'm not, the polls don't sway me too much. They do give you an idea of what you need to be focused on, but as an outcome determinative thing. But the one thing I will say is Biden voters could care less what this prosecutor said. and how he did. Here's what they care about. And let me ask you this question, Professor. I'm going to apologize. It's just my nature. This has been set up for the last 2.5 days. I threw some chum in the water. I think I got you. What policy or what action as a governing step has Biden done that says, wait a minute, that's a result of his age, and that shows you he can't handle the job? Because I don't know that I've not had a situation happen where in his governing the country where it said, okay, he's too old.
Okay. Well, let me answer it this way, because I know you're a history buff. Woodrow Wilson.
Okay.
And you know what happened with Woodrow Wilson in 1919 when he had a stroke.
Correct.
And his physician held it back from Congress. It held it back from his national security advisor.
Right. And his wife kind of stepped in and kind of made sure.
And she kind of stepped in. She was the only other one that knew besides the physician. Okay, so now we have Dr. Jill Biden. We have Joe, who our eyes tell us something's not right about this guy, and they keep Joe out of the public eye unless it's necessary for him to step out. Now let's go to what policy he may or may not have executed. Our Secretary of Defense was in the hospital. According to White House reports, not conjecture, not CNN, not Fox, Joe Biden didn't know.
But that was the secretary. But that's the Secretary of Defense, though. He's the one that didn't tell anybody.
He doesn't run the country.
I agree with that. I agree. But what did Joe Biden do? Go ahead.
I'm trying to get to that.
Okay.
If the Secretary of State is incapacitated, Joe Biden should be at the lever. He should know, first of all, because there's something going on. There's a drone strike that killed 3 American soldiers. And I told you this thing was going to grow legs. Now, we have a Secretary of Defense who is still ill. We have a report that says our president is diminished. Who would need to know what policy? I don't even know what they said. If I know one sick with cancer, and that's nothing to play with, one can't think straight, we got 2 conflicts. We got Russia side-eyeing us. We got China waiting, chomping at the bit, and we're trying to mess around and say we're still going to roll with this old cat who's showing up.
So let's go. That's one thing, though. What I'm saying, though, is the argument that I think is missing is when someone says, and here's what happened from a governing standpoint. Like, for example, but no, that's not governing. Those are events. But there's no the event that happened. Well, the governing action was the response to the people getting killed. You know, you could say, well, Lloyd Austin didn't tell Biden because he doesn't respect him, and so he's like, yeah, whatever. The bad guy's old and incompetent. He wouldn't even remember if I told him anyway. So I'm not going to tell him. That could be the way to look at it and say that his cabinet people are not respecting him and making sure he's informed. I thought the response to that was quite mature and adult, and they're still hitting, sending responses to that terrorist attack. You just had this major negotiation of a border deal where they divided the border patrol and its union from the Republicans. That was think about this. That is magic. They divided Republicans in that negotiation, which Joe Biden, played a role in that.
He did not do that. Stop that.
He repeatedly met with the negotiating. Hold on. But he
wasn't a part of that.
He met with leadership.
Schumer probably ran that.
But they met with him and as part of the strategy.
Just said Austin probably didn't tell him. You really think they're telling?
I didn't. Wait. No. That's a hypothetical. But I'm just saying, hypothetically, if your argument was his cabinet doesn't respect him, and that's why they don't keep him informed, I could see. I just don't see where his age is impacting his governing. And if this guy
it's not his age, it's his acuity.
His acuity. But where is acuity? I mean, from what I can see, there's no evidence that the economy's chugging along. He's kept us out of those wars overseas, except for sending stuff over. And this thing
the issue is Joe Biden cannot have a conversation and tell you the details of that policy. That's why they keep him out of the eye. The department heads are doing that. That's
Yeah,
why
but
he
it's still
has
be.
an
But at the end of
administration.
the
That's why he has
day,
the cabinet.
but at the end of the day, whatever it is that is happening, I feel the country moving in a positive direction. There are right now, from a world standpoint, we have the best economy in the world. The best economy in the world.
Well, let
Not
me remind you of something. You and what was the guy's name? The other attorney that used to come in. What's his name? You know, you guys were trying to convince me that you really don't know about a president's policies until 3 years after. So by that logic, it's Trump's economy that's still running.
touche.
That's
Very
what you
good.
tried to tell me that.
Very good, Professor. Listen, I thank you very. Excuse me. Excuse me. Well, thank you very much, Professor, for taking a break from class. I want to let you get back to educating America's leaders of tomorrow. I think that it's clear that something, will come out of this. What? I don't know. But I hope you have a great rest of your day, great rest of your weekend. And as always, keep it coming, Professor. Keep us on our toes. I appreciate it very much. All right, man. You have a great day.
All right, you too. All right, see you.
Listen, that's the Professor. Listen, we're going to take this quick break, come back on the other side. Let's get your thoughts. 813-444-9588. In Touch News Radio. We'll be right back.
Touch Radio, the most loved station across the nation. In Touch Radio. Tell a friend. In Touch Radio.
Hey, this is Agent Wright, better known as Mr. Clean. You looking for some great barbecue? Come see them two brothers on the grill, located at 423 Virginia Street, Charleston, West Virginia. We got ribs, chicken, pulled pork, brisket, collard greens, mac and cheese, baby. Come get some and get you a nice, smooth cigar. 304-550-4431. That is 304-550-4431. Come get some, baby. The Rib Man, mama, the Rib Man.
Been in a car crash? Call Ricky. Don't know what to do? Ask Ricky. We will connect you with a lawyer and doctor experience in auto accident injuries. Call Ricky at 844-361-7425. After an auto accident, you have 14 days to seek medical attention. You may be in pain, so call Ricky, ask Ricky for your best options. 844-361-7425. Call Ricky, ask Ricky is a legal and medical referral service. The lawyers in our network pay to receive referrals.
Who doesn't love being number one? When your team's dominating the standings, or your favorite band rocks the charts at number one, it feels good, right? Kind of like how it feels when you have auto insurance with State Farm. Because making you feel like number one is an honor your local State Farm agent takes seriously. Through the good times and not so good, your State Farm agent's proud to be here to help life go right.
Call Herman White at 961-6661. That's 961-6661.
All right, we're back live on In Touch News Radio, reality radio, where everybody can be a star. Again, my name is Clint Parrish, co-host of Straight Up the Middle. Just spent a little bit of time talking with the professor, Tony Seabrook, getting his insight on the recent events involving Joe Biden and their implication. And while you cannot dispute there's an age issue with Joe Biden, we've always felt more so there's a competency issue and age issue with Donald Trump. Last night, Donald Trump was giving a speech, and he said that if the election is lost, Pennsylvania will be renamed. It won't be Pennsylvania. Now, you can't surmise whether he's just making up something or what it's based on, but these two gentlemen in their age are definitely issues in the election. The question if they'll be determinative, and Bezel was asking the question here, well, what happens when you have two people that are just really, neither one's really, I won't say unacceptable, but at the end of the day, it's about governing the country. I'd love to have a president I like. I'd love to have a president that I, want to get behind. But bigger than that, I need a president that governs the country well. And we've really not had any major country crises that Joe Biden has not handled well. Or let me say the Biden administration. Because one of the things that Professor intimated was that, well, like with Woodrow Wilson, when Woodrow Wilson got sick, his wife was calling the shots for long before anybody found out the man was sick. Well, we're not in that day and age. I don't think that you could get away with that.
They didn't have that media coverage,
right? And access, and people in around the country really didn't know what was happening in Washington. Newspapers came out, a month later when they got delivered by Pony Express or something. It wasn't like they, it was the information access we have now, or the rhythm to that information we have now. Mm-hmm. And people's careers weren't tied so close to politics. See, there's a political industrial complex in America where people make their living on politics, being a part of the political system, going in and out of government, access to power, things of that nature. And so from that perspective, people are more apt to protect their careers, and not let you take them down with them by being part of something that they know is not best or is not right. And with that being said, I think we're protected in that regard. But my question for anyone who has concerns about a Joe Biden presidency, explain to me from a governing standpoint, what's your concern? You could say, well, he won't take action on the border. Well, you just saw Congress put together a middle of the road bipartisan immigration bill. It included border security. It included just a bunch of different things that would have helped deal with some of our immigration crises, as well as Ukraine funding, as well as funding for Israel. And the politics of the day, not the governing, the politics of Donald Trump threatening Republicans derailed it, which goes back to people in the Republican Party now beholding too much to Donald Trump. That's not the case. I mean, I'm a pretty staunch Democrat, but I'm not a Bidenite. Meaning, I'm not just someone who just believes, I should collect the dirt Joe Biden walks on because it's sacred. Think about this. On Fox News, they sell a Trumpy game for kids to teach kids about the greatness of Donald Trump. This was put together by Mike Huckabee, Sarah Huckabee's dad. Just think about that. There's a program that they sell, to teach kids about the greatness of Donald Trump.
That's crazy.
That is absolutely ludicrous. Anyway, we got a call on the phone. Good morning, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Good morning, good attorney. This is that call. I called in. I really got a strong to push back on the professor, man. He's beating up on my president.
Well, the first thing I love hearing people claim their leadership, their president. But what were some of your things you take issue with the professor said?
Well, the whole thing is that a president don't run the country by himself. He don't. That's one thing. He makes decisions. He has his cabinet that helps him out, that guides him. And this president, he has some knowledgeable people around him that he respects and helps him govern. He's not a loose cannon like Trump is. Want to be a dictator. Like you said, our country is going in the right direction. We just don't have a Republican Congress that supports us. Like this deal with the border. I mean, they don't want to fund Ukraine, which and he's fighting against them, and he's other stuff going on. So it makes his job a lot harder, and that's what then you got these investigations that he's dealing with, this nonsense investigation, and then they're attacking his son. They got him, attacking his son. So which is irrelevant. It's not even a case, not even an issue. So he's been dragged and pulled in so many different directions, but however, he's still, going and guides the country the way that we needed to go.
I said something. I had said something that I love your thoughts on it, and that is, I don't think this moves the needle when it comes to Biden supporters. I don't think. I don't think it registers. Not like they're talking about. Donald Trump could go out on Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody. It wouldn't matter. Those are the issues. But I just don't think that at this stage, in the way that America is voting now, you look at some of the weirdos in Congress that have come in from the Republican side. I mean, just absolute. That's some of that stuff with Marjorie Taylor Greene. Looks like Lauren Boebert has outsmarted herself out in Colorado. But some of these people, when you see them, like, whoa, how did that person get in Congress? The lady came out the other day and said, hey, she would not have ratified the election last year if she were Mike Pence. So I think that's a component to it. But what are your thoughts about politically? Is this really going to affect Joe Biden in the campaign?
Yes, it is. You're going to somebody that's going to feed it. They're going to feed into it, and they're going to, yes, it will. Some people that really don't like Joe, that don't like, the president, you're right, or either that they're misguided about how our government looks, how our government works or whatever. Yeah, you're right. It probably will, but hopefully not too much, because with the country going in the direction it is now, we need it to keep going. The more you pull in that direction, the better it'll get over time. Over time, it'll be a lot better. We just can't risk putting Republicans back in power now, because they're gonna pull it in a different direction, which they just want power. They don't care about the middle class. They don't care about the gas prices. They don't care about the economy. They don't care about the infrastructure. They just want to have power for the rich and the powerful.
That's interesting. You nailed that. Perception wise, about how the Republicans are viewed and why they're struggling to get more traction with the middle class. They've got they went and found a bunch of I hate to say it this way, but poor, uneducated white voters who were disenfranchised by desegregation and felt that they themselves never moved from opportunity because black people and other minorities were getting opportunities, and they've now found a home over in the Republican Party to kind of dog whistle those feelings and be made to feel good about themselves. But the middle class, the true middle class, as you saw with the Auto Workers Union coming out in support of Joe Biden, what they say, listen, when we were on strike, when we were striking on the picket line, Joe Biden didn't come out, but Donald Trump didn't come out there with us. He didn't walk on that line and help fight for benefits and rights and things of that nature, But end of the day, let me ask you, Carl, do you have any concerns about Joe Biden's age whatsoever?
No, I don't. No, I don't. I have no concern about his age, because like I said, he has some good people around him that keeps him going and help him make the decision. Trump is one guy that the gaps he made. He thought he was running against Nancy Pelosi. He thought he was Nancy Pelosi, and sometimes he throws Obama in there.
Yeah.
The guy, so
whoever you can find.
What's the football form, but
got it.
Whoever you can find, yeah.
Yeah.
And so, but I'm saying our politicians are somebody that we have to pick and choose that in our best interest.
Gotcha. All right, Carl. Appreciate you calling in. As always, appreciate you listening as well. Thank you very much. So thanks for keeping us safe and out there on that road, delivering products and whatnot. Carl the truck, everybody calling in, giving his 2 cents, defending Joe Biden, taking issue with the professor. I thought he was going to get a professor a big shove. He kind of nudged him. I thought he said he was going to push back. It was more like a nudge. It wasn't a shove. I thought he was going to shove the professor.
I have great respect for but a professional. He puts out a lot of knowledge. So
Appreciate it very much.
You can't just come on and just hit on my president.
I hear you, man. All right, so we'll be back after this break, everybody.
When it comes to reality radio, everyone is a star.
I know that's right.
On your smooth soul and R&B station. On the World Wide Web.
Access granted.
In Touch Radio.
You've been injured, you deserve help from an attorney that knows how to handle your injury claim. This is attorney Clinton Paris from the law office of Clinton Paris. For over a decade, I worked for insurance companies, and now I use that knowledge and experience to help people that have been injured. For a free consultation, call me, attorney Clinton Paris, at 813-413-7924. That's 813-413-7924, or at parislawoffice.com. At the law office of Clinton Paris, we take the pain out of being hurt. Offices, Riverview.
Call Ricky. Ask Ricky. You need medical or a lawyer. I got the man to do the legwork for you. We tried the other ones before, so believe we 100 down. 813-248-6300. Everything gon' be okay. Call Ricky, he coming. He taking care of state of Florida. Grab a pen or sundown. 184-361-RICK. That's 184-361-7425. Never word from the point forward, just recline. Just ask Ricky, plus your boy statewide. Just in case you missed it, I'ma tell you one more time. 184-361-RICK. Call Ricky, ask Ricky is a legal medical referral service. The doctors and lawyers in our network are trained in handling auto injury claims, giving you the best medical treatment and recovery. Dial 1-844-361-RICK. That's 1-844-361-7425. Call Ricky. Ask Ricky.
We're playing your favorite old school.
Nobody loves me better. Makes me happy. Makes me feel
Today's R&B.
carrot magic in the air.
With a smooth touch of jazz. You're listening to In Touch Radio.
All right, we're back live on the Touch News Radio, reality radio. Everybody can be a star. Listen, call the trucker. I think truckers are. They bogart the road, man. They up and down the highway, speed. They do what they want to do, man. They come charging in, and the way he came in to push back on, I thought he was gonna go, Kelly McAday. They were gonna give him a good shove. He gave the professor a little bitty bow there, a little bump.
It was a little beep.
I don't know if they call it foul. What they call it? It definitely wasn't a charge. He didn't run over nobody. So
it was a hand check.
Yeah, we want to appreciate Carl for calling in as always and listening to us here on Intex News Radio. And today we've been talking about this issue with Joe Biden and his the decision and the competency issue coming out of this report by the special counsel about him in the documents. And I thought those comments had no place in a document of that legally significant. I don't know that prosecutors should factor in your elderly or how someone else might view you. You might get a jury that they don't like old people. You may get a jury that has, they've dealt with enough old people or whatnot that they don't have a sympathy, but to use that as a basis for why this decision was made, I thought was very, it was unfortunate. It shouldn't have been done. But he kind of boxed Merrick Garland in because Merrick Garland couldn't change it without having to explain why he changed it. So from that dynamic of it, I thought that was unfortunate. And of course, Joe Biden coming out and trying to give a press conference where I think he got a little agitated. It didn't come off, with it wasn't the, Ronald Reagan, I paid for this microphone, comment. Right. It wasn't that kind of, forcefulness of clarity at his age, so from that dynamic, I could see that. But I don't think, and like I told the professor, Biden supporters are going to be swayed by that. They've accepted. This is not, Joe Biden at 50 or 75. But even in that, he is doing an incredible job leading the country. So much so, you have Republicans around the country taking credit for some of the technology, the infrastructure bills. They're out taking credit for bringing in these projects when they voted against them. But Joe Biden was on the right side of that. They've let this administration and this bill that came out of the Senate, that was in the Senate, has divided the Border Patrol union from Republicans. That is masterful, because now you've got Republicans having to try to go back and explain to one of their core constituents how they botched that whole situation. So from a governing standpoint, I don't know where I've seen his age be an issue. So from my perspective, so that's the key. That Bezel, you had some thoughts you want to share?
I just want to quote my homie Plies, man. It's
Wait. You want to quote Plies?
I want to quote Plies, man.
What are his credentials to discuss things of political?
I'm just saying, he put this out there like, since when America been afraid to vote for an old white dude? I'm just saying.
Right, and that's a key component. Joe Biden looks like, to a lot of people, every other, you go ask a young person, let's say a 22-year-old, what's the difference in a 65-year-old and an 80-year-old? They'll tell you nothing. They're both old,
right,
and disconnected from my reality.
Right. Trump is only 3 years younger than Biden. It's not like it's. I mean, it's unfortunate, but at the same time, it's just politics, man. It's all a politics.
And the beauty of that, I think, is the continuity that you can create through our democratic process. Thankfully, we get the choice to speak on it. It's not some other body remote, and that's why I'm not a fan of this whole thing out of Colorado with the Supreme Court putting somebody on the ballot versus not. And we don't want to get into that. And I'm referencing. The Supreme Court in Colorado voted to remove Donald Trump. The United States Supreme Court has taken that issue up, had oral arguments this week. And one of the justices said, well, if we've allowed this to happen, now every state gets to pick and choose who gets on their ballot. And what's to stop, red states from only allowing red candidates and blue states to only allow blue candidates? What's to stop that from becoming the tit for tat that we experience? Now, we already decide in each state who gets to be on the ballot. We have our own deadlines for filing paperwork, registering, and most people don't get it. Most elections are really party elections. I know the primaries are run by the parties. So that's a whole nother component of the process. Supreme Court really pushed hard against the Colorado voters trying to remove Joe Biden, saying, look, you've not proven he was involved in insurrection. You need that trial first to prove it. There's federal statutes that allow him to be criminally charged. Why would we jump ahead of that and just conclude? Now, they did hold a 5-day hearing. They called it a trial to go through a process of making a determination about whether or not Donald Trump was involved in the insurrection.
So what's going to happen? Like, I mean, he's going through all these trials. I mean, they're gonna put it on hold for him to be president. I don't know. Like, if he
what he'll do is he'll immediately, all the federal trials, he's going to pardon himself. That's the first thing you do. If I were president, I'd come in. We shutting all that down. I'm going to give myself a pardon from all that stuff, right? Then what I'm going to do is, you've got the state cases. That's why the Georgia case in Fulton County is a big deal, because it's a state case. And so what happens at the federal level is irrelevant. I still predict that if those trials are not finished and Joe Biden wins the election, he's going to pardon Donald Trump. That's what I would do. The country doesn't need the contentiousness. That was a brilliant thing done by Gerald Ford with Richard Nixon. He said the country doesn't need to go through impeachment. I'm going to pardon him. That way we don't have to bring all this up again. I think that's what I would expect Joe Biden to do. The country needs to move on. And so by having these trials, Donald Trump is corrupt and all the other things you want to say about it. And it's shameful he ever got this far in our political system. But we can't tear the system down trying to bring Donald Trump down. Beat him at the ballot box and send him home. And I don't think you have to deal with him again. If you try to run again, I don't think the political structure of the Republican Party will allow him to take their money again. Because this really is about money. He's gotten all the money out of the Republican National Committee. I mean, they've got I think they said they have $7 million. They spent $50 million, I think, on his defense, on attorney's fees to Donald Trump. That's what they're alleging they've put up. Donald Trump also has convinced most donors to give the money to him or to one of his PACs. So the Republicans who need that money for various races, they're the ones I think going to shut him down. Mark the tape on that. Donald Trump gets pardoned by Joe Biden. It would be the proper thing to do. So listen, it's been great being in here today, getting the chance to catch up with everybody. As I was driving into the studio today here in Tampa, Belzo, guess what I saw?
What was that?
The Ferris wheel going around at the fair.
Oh, the Ferris.
The fair is in town, which means spring is on the way. Got one more cold spell coming. And we get to thaw out down here in Florida, wherever you are in the country. Look, come on down. I know you've heard some rough stuff about us right now, but trust me, Mickey is still Mickey, and the sun's shining, the beaches are still warm and wet. Come on down and enjoy this beautiful weather we're having wherever you are in the country. It's a great time to get out and experience some of the beautiful things that we have to experience here in this beautiful country of ours. I want to appreciate everybody for listening in, for calling. You people that text me, get on the phone, go and call. You got something to say? I saw your text messages.
And shout out to the people on YouTube.
Yes. Appreciate you always
too.
coming in and sharing with us. Hey, listen, we'll be back here next week. Just get out, do something, make this a wonderful time to enjoy being alive. See you back here next week. Bye-bye.